Hello folks and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party, and let's try a Wizard's Lizard. It's by Lost Decade Games. You can pick it up for $14.99 from either the developer's website or from the Humble store. It's available on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Originally this game was called Crypt Run. They had a Kickstarter, it was successful. It's also been greenlit, so it will be on Steam, but as of right now, there's no announced solid release date for this game to be on Steam. But they have said that if you go ahead and buy the game now, you will get Steam keys once it's available on Steam. So you might want to go ahead and just purchase this now if this game looks interesting to you. And also, all relevant links to this game and the Steam page and all of that will be in the description below this video. Two things before we get started. Normally I like to hop right in, but there's two things I want to cover very quickly here. I'm going to try to be as fair as possible to this game. This is a roguelike. Anyone who's followed my channel for a while knows I do not like roguelikes. However, I am going to be as fair as humanly possible, show you how the game plays, and let you decide for yourself. Second thing is the options. Now, as you can see, the options are pretty bare bones here. We can disable music and we disable sound effects. We cannot change the music or sound effect levels. This is something, especially as someone who does videos on YouTube, is very, very annoying. I want to be able to lower the volume, not disable it completely. So I'm going to leave them on for now, but it's very loud and it can be a little distracting at times. So hopefully that's something they add later on. You can hide the HUD inventory, which I'm actually leaving just for demonstration purposes. And you can delete your saved game. This is a roguelike, but a lot like Binding of Isaac, it does keep up with how well you've done up to that point. Nope, I do not want to quit. Never mind. I want to return to the title. And let's go ahead and play. So as I mentioned, this is a roguelike game with generated dungeons and all that good stuff. But there are a few things that are persistent. First off, very quickly, I'll show you here in the museum lobby. As you kill enemies and get items, those items will now show up forever in the museum. Now, you can't use these items. Like, I can't just pick up these weapon upgrades and just leave with them, but they're there to kind of show you how well you've progressed. Not only how well you've progressed, but how many of the items you've found. And there's quite a few of these rooms. So, and there's one for monsters you've killed and things like that. I think bosses too, maybe. I'm not sure. But we'll go ahead and leave there. Now, you'll notice this little gold box that's sitting here. This will always be here whenever you start a new game. At least after the first one. And you notice it gives me 2,500 gold. One interesting thing this game does is that when you're going through the dungeons, there's people that you can rescue, townsfolk that have been captured. The more townfolk that you rescue, the more money that you start with. And you can also pick up blueprints so that whenever you die and start over in town again, you can actually buy a weapon with whatever gold. So you want to try to save the people that are inside the dungeons. And this is our basic weapon. It's just a little throwing dagger. I like this spear, so I'm gonna, this axe looks interesting. Let's go with the spear. We'll just stick with the spear. And we got 1,000 left. Can I buy anything else? No, just barely can't buy the lantern. So and again, those things are things I have unlocked either by finding them in the game or finding the blueprints for them. And we're gonna just go ahead and hop through here. This is the town. I'm assuming these open something. I have not done anything yet. When you talk to this guy, he says the door leads to the crypt, but the way is blocked. So the guy at North says the same thing. So we're going to start the dungeon. Now, I'm playing with a PS4 controller. I've used the keyboard as well, and it was serviceable. So if you don't have a controller, I think this game would still be totally playable, even if you didn't have it. Now, you notice this ghost kind of wandering around. He can't hurt me right now, but later on he will be able to, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. First off, the obvious things, the graphics. I really like the graphical style. I kind of like the thick black border look. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure there's a legit term for that. I hit the owl on accident. Those owls will not attack you until you hit them. Maybe if you get too close they will as well. I'm not sure. So let's see. Now these little things here are graves, and if you step on them, zombies will come out. And you can actually keep doing this over and over for a little while and keep killing the zombies for money or random drops, but eventually they do run out of bodies. Oh, there was an enemy heading in there. He throws 2 daggers at me. As you would expect, different enemies do different things. You have obstacles, like these graves are just kind of in the way. Then you have these webs, which if you get caught in these, you walk really slow. But The same applies for most enemies. Flying enemies, ignore that for the most part. But slow enemies, you might actually try to get them to walk through this on purpose. You have explosive barrels, which, as you might imagine, explode. Now, one thing that has gotten me a few times is those barrels will kill you instantly if they blow up on you. So be very wary of that. Now, you notice I picked up some gold nuggets there for money. We will find shops. If you've played... Oh, God. If you're a fan of roguelikes, you've almost certainly played Binding of Isaac, I would wager. I don't think that's a stretch there by any stretch. So there is things like merchants that you will find that you can use this money to buy things from them. Now, you'll notice in this room as well, the pentagram in the center of the room. This is actually important later on when you die. In this game, when you die, you become... like you enter the spirit world. Oh, the boss already. Was not expecting that. Now, here's one thing I dislike. The bosses have tons of hit points. Now, luckily, he got right by this barrel, so I'm going to try to do that again. See if I can... Oops. And I walked right into his thing there. So we've been able to... Oops. And I was closer to the barrel than I thought. As I was going to say, when you die, you actually enter, like, the spirit world. And things will be a little different. Some things that were obstacles before will now not be obstacles. Now, this is actually a phase of the boss here. Now, as you can see, fighting this guy in this form is much worse than normal because these stupid little things in the middle of the room are spawning non-stop, these skeletons. So I have to kill them on top of all the enemies this guy is spawning. So I'm going to try to focus on getting this cleared out a bit so I can focus on the boss a bit. Yeah, the boss is a little, again, tedious for my taste because it doesn't seem like it, like his health is really low right now. But that's partially because I managed to trip him up on explosive barrels. And if you have good luck with your barrel placement, that will help a lot. I always forget about this phase. We should be able to kill this guy if I stop running into his swinging hammer like an idiot. Now here's his third phase where he summons a bunch of undead. I'm going to go ahead and get a few more hits on him. And we'll go back to kill these. And I think the way this phase seems to work is that you have X amount of time. So you do want to kill these guys as fast as possible because the faster you kill these, the more time you have to go back to the boss and do damage to him. So the spear, one thing I like about the spear is I think it will go all the way across the map. Or the room, I guess you should say, or I should say. And the dagger that you start with, in fact, a lot of weapons that you can get, the range is a lot shorter. So the spear is really nice for bosses like this. Now see, I'm getting him stuck in the web, so it's easier for me to avoid him. All right, he's going to throw it one more time, and now he'll start swinging it around. And of course, I always get hit by it. But yeah, this is not a good start. You can pick up armor so that you take less damage from hits. And unfortunately, I have not found any of it so far for this run. Again, the game remembers that you've picked up the items, but it doesn't actually... You don't get to keep those items, which, again, people who like roguelikes, that's, you know, part and parcel with the game type, so you're probably totally okay with that. I'm going to try to avoid this guy until... Get some more hits on this guy. Yeah, like I say, my main problem here is the boss just takes so damn long. And again, I got lucky with some explosive barrels. When I was first fighting him with my daggers, oh man, this fight took about 10 minutes, it felt like. It felt like 10 minutes. It might not have actually took that long, but it sure felt like it. Alright, so he's finally dead. He doesn't drop anything. I think he's supposed to. But for me, he's never dropped anything, I don't think. I could be wrong on that, but I'm gonna check. There's a... Okay. There was a gravestone there that was cracked. So let's... What door open? Okay, I think this is the item door. Yeah. Let's go in here and grab our item. I think this is random. It is. We got a royal dagger. Ooh. That's pretty nice. It's very fast, and there's two of them. We'll keep this. Now, if we go through here, we'll go to the next stage. We won't go to the next stage just yet, because I want to show you something. Keep in mind, again, we are on the afterlife. And the story for this game is, in a nutshell, a wizard finds the secret to eternal life, and death basically says, yeah, no, I'm not having any of that. And kills him or kidnaps him or something, and you were the wizard's pet lizard that is for some reason in humanoid form, and now you're off to save the wizard. So here, this pentagram room is important because once you die, you can come back in here, and if you stand on the pentagram, you will slowly be brought back to life. So now we're back to life, because if you die in ghost mode or whatever, then that's it. Then you're dead. So sometimes you want to use that to your advantage and wait. So for example, what I will do sometimes, I don't know why those barrels are shaking. Let's clear this side of the room out first. Ah, we got food. Food does drop, and you get health from the food. We got a ring at the top. On the top there, you can see the items we have. Ooh, an apple. Despite me getting a lot of food right now, trust me, wow. This is by far the most food I have ever seen. So don't think this is normal. Unless I just got super unlucky before, and I don't think that's the case. But definitely want to destroy all of this. Wow. That's all that food in this room is probably all the food I've seen in the time I've played. I've put in maybe about an hour and a half into this so far. I've gotten, there's 5 stages total. There is this stage, which is the graveyard. There's the sewer and the crypt. There's also 2 hidden stages. Oh, and see, here's a vendor. She sells a blueprint. It's a random blueprint. I'll go ahead and buy it. Leather tunic. Nice. So now when I die and resurrect back in town, I can actually choose to buy the leather tunic if I want. I probably wouldn't bother. The leather tunic, you find it on the first stage, and armor is very, very useful in this game. It drastically reduces how much damage you end up taking. But wait a minute. Something suspicious there. Oh, never mind. But it does drastically reduce the damage you take, especially once you get the metal armor, which is on the crypt stage, the final stage. But there's also 2 hidden stages that you can find by destroying various things in various stages. Like in this stage, I think there's like a cracked tombstone somewhere, and if you find it and you destroy it, then you'll automatically get taken to, I think, the forest. And the same goes for the swamp. Something is like cracked, and if you hit it, it'll take you to the next stage. Well, if you take it, it opens a doorway, and then from there you can enter to the next stage. I'm digging this weapon though. I actually found the secret door in the marsh, or not the marsh, but in the swamp myself, just by sheer luck, and went to the other hidden level. So there's 5 levels total, and I asked the developers how long they expected it to take for an average playthrough. For like, if once people learn it, just like when Binding of Isaac came out, people weren't necessarily blowing through the game very quickly. Werewolves, for some reason, can do some kind of like sonic attack, or not really sonic attack. I was trying to catch him while he was next to the explosive barrel. And this is not grass, by the way, that's spikes. The first time I was like, oh, that's grass. And I tried to walk through it and I got hurt. So found out the hard way it's not grass. But they wrote back and they said, theoretically, someone could get through the game in 15 minutes. But more realistically, you're looking at 45 minutes to an hour. And they told me that none of the streamers that they've watched have been able to beat the game yet. And I could see that, because it's definitely not been easy. But again, not really into the roguelike thing, so I haven't put a lot of time in it. But I did about an hour and a half, give or take. But I did get to the last stage, for what that matters, which is probably not much. So all right, let's go ahead and go back. We're gonna move on to the next stage here. The one aspect that I like is that as you progress, you can save the villagers. Oh, there is some more stages. I thought there was some more areas. Oh, the more. Sorry, trying to focus. There was a lot going on in this room. Now, see, if we were in the undead room or in undead mode, these ghosts just kind of hanging around, they would actually be able to attack us. So that's why they're just kind of floating around right now, harmless. Ouch. They love hiding those spikes all over the place. But yeah, I like that you can get some starting money. I got some leather boots there. I like that you can, get some money or keep some money from your adventures, and then you can... Ooh, hello. Oh. Ah, see, this will take us to the secret area. Sure, why not? We'll go to the secret area. Hopefully this isn't a spoiler for anyone who might be picking this up and trying it out. But yeah, that tombstone was even more cracked than the others. So I might run into some new enemies, because I have not been here before. Kill some dire bats. I really love this weapon, though. It's got a good range, and it shoots really far. That is quite nice. These got to look out for, because they shoot little spores out when you kill them. And they also shoot spores when you get close to them. Now, that is one problem I had before with these doors. Normally, it's not an issue if you do that. However, there was one room I was in where there was this enemy that had a lot of hit points. And the way the room was set up, I needed to be by the door to avoid it. And several times, I would get it low on health and then accidentally run out the door. And that would reset the mob's health. And that was incredibly frustrating. I don't know why I didn't just lock the door. Normally the doors... Ouch. I forgot. There are mimics in this game. I keep forgetting. Gotta remember to attack those so that doesn't happen. Gotta be ready to move away from that owl as soon as you attack it. Wow. I swear to God, I don't normally see this much food. It's unusual to see this much food. Again, unless I was just super unlucky my previous times playing it, but I kind of don't think that's the case. Another thing I'm not crazy about here, and this is not really anything to do with the roguelike aspect, is the darkness. Any game that uses a lot of darkness to kind of... I don't know if I want to say it's trying to up the challenge with the darkness, but it's making it a little harder because it's slightly harder to see. I don't like that at all. I hate dealing with darkness in a game. I hate that being like a serious aspect. It's like, ooh, the difficult thing is that you can't see anything. Like, personally, I hate that. I know some people probably don't really care, but to me, it's annoying. It's very, very annoying. It's not too awful in this game, but it's noticeable and it's very distracting. Which I kind of actually like being dead or being undead or whatever it is, because everything's really bright and it's much, much easier to see. And it's hard to explain because, like I said, I can see everything pretty clearly, but I have to like kind of not squint, but just kind of strain my eyes more to see it. And it's not necessarily super fun for me, but again, I know some people aren't going to really notice that or be affected by it. Grab that. I swear those green mushrooms do actually attack you. I'm not just viciously killing them for no reason. Those poor innocent mushrooms. The music, as I'm sure you can hear, it's all right. I'm not crazy about it, but it's not like distracting. I do wish I could keep it on, but lower it. Like, I talked about that before, but I do hope they put a volume lowering option, because again, I want it to be there. I don't want to remove it completely. I just don't want it blasting in my ears constantly. I'm gonna loot this chest. What do I get? Ranger's hand wraps. Now, one thing is, unfortunately here, I have no way to see that, like, what that item is. I see it's a green hand wrap, but I have no way to see like what it does. And you can also, of course, at the top right, you can see my map and my health, all that good stuff. He did say something though when I messaged one of the folks there. They said that they were going to, or consider doing something with that, so that you can actually see what the names of the items are you're carrying. Obviously, it won't matter. Oh God, once you get used to how, it's like Binding of Isaac, right? Once you actually learn what the items are, it won't be that big of a deal, right? You'll just know what they are. You don't need a description. But at this point, I would like to know what they are. Ooh, Ranger's foot wraps. And again, keep in mind, you can go, once you die, you can go to the museum. And in the museum, you can examine the objects. And they'll usually give you an idea of what that item does. Oh, don't explode. Thank you. Let's take out the other dangerous stuff. Oh, see the mushrooms do shoot stuff out at you. See, I was not lying. I wouldn't do that to you. These little Audreys shooting things at me. Oh, those gray owls are nasty. I'm about to die here. Go in the undead world. Oh, let's grab this food before that happens, if at all possible. I like how all the enemies like blow up into little like kidneys and internal organs. Nice and brutal, given the really upbeat art style. And I do really like the art style. I think the art style is pretty nifty. And I also I like the animations for the most part. I like how, I don't know if you can really tell since I'm shooting arrows, or not arrows, but swords nonstop. But you can see is when they hit the max range, they kind of drop to the ground. I think that's a pretty neat effect. I just wanted to see if I could go to the undead world by standing on that. I didn't figure that you could, but all right, let's continue exploring the forest. Honestly, we probably won't get past the forest, but we'll get as far as we can. Trying to think of anything else to talk about. I'm kind of checking my list here of things to talk about. There has been a few bugs. For the most part, it's been fine. I haven't noticed a whole lot of problems. The most obvious one is that when I try to close the game, it doesn't actually close. Like, it'll give me a pop-up message that says, "Thanks for playing," which is nice. But then the game just stays open. Like, because I just say okay on the "Thanks for playing," and the game doesn't actually close. I have to click the red X on it to get it to close, which is not a big deal. Another thing I noticed, and I kind of wrote it off as something maybe I was doing wrong or something, but it happens so much, and I never noticed any other time that I was thinking, okay, surely it's not just me. But one problem I had was there's a boomerang item, and I found that a lot of times if I was moving and shooting the boomerang, suddenly I couldn't shoot it anymore. Like it would stop working, and it would take like a second or two before I would be able to use them again. I noticed that as well, but other than that, it's been pretty solid. As you might expect, it runs really well. I was playing this game before when I was encoding videos, which, as you may or may not know, is very CPU intensive, and it was working fine. Okay, now here's where you can buy stuff. Now the abacus I have discovered will show you how much damage you're doing. This is just a heal potion. And then this is the monster manual. The monster manual will allow you to see the monster's hit points. So we'll go ahead and pick this up, because why not? It's funny because normally I don't have anywhere near this much money, and the shop vendors are usually selling items that are way more expensive than I can afford. But this time, that I actually have a lot of money, he's selling the cheap stuff. Figures, just my luck. But that's alright. We'll keep on exploring this dungeon. And let's see, we went up north, so let's go west. Let's see, looks like we can go north over here. I think there's a boss in this stage, I think. I think the other hidden area currently doesn't have a boss, or I don't know if it ever will, but... And as you can see, the doors are locked off if there's any living enemies. Sometimes that's weird too. So for example, there will be enemies that like hide in the water and pop out from time to time. If you've killed everything but that enemy, and that enemy is currently not popped up, the doors will be open. But the minute he pops his head up, the doors close again. Which actually, you know, works pretty well in a lot of cases. I was trying to kill everything else but that gray owl first. I don't know if you can see it, but they do have life bars under them as I shoot them with these awesome royal daggers. I'm definitely a fan of this weapon. I like the fast speed. They seem to do less damage than my regular spears and daggers, but the speed makes up for that, I think. And the fact that you shoot two of them. Though, unfortunately, it doesn't look like you can actually shoot enemies with dual daggers. It looks like they get a moment of brief invincibility. So you can't, like, line it up and hit them with both daggers and do double damage. Probably a balancing thing, I would imagine. Alright, let's kill these bats. I still can't believe how much food I'm getting. Maybe I just got super unlucky my last few playthroughs. I'd say I've probably played through about 4 lives, maybe? Somewhere in there. I'll go ahead and kill this, just because. Now, there is no XP system. There's just money and loot and progress. those of you who maybe not are a little less familiar with roguelikes, because I'm kind of working under the assumption that most people watching this know how roguelikes work. So I want to do a little bit better job of explaining for those of you who might not know. Well, shoot. We basically explored. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Okay, I see where we need to go. Just go all the way left and then back south and then one over. That might be the last room because I think we've explored this place pretty thoroughly up until this point. And as you might imagine, these rooms are randomly generated, right? So the next time we come to the forest or the next time I go to the graveyard, the layout will be different. No, this is a dead end. I probably should have not been looking at the map at that exact point in time. Owls are doubly dangerous because they do not get stuck in web. Anything that flies, as far as I know, doesn't get stuck in web. Okay. Alright, well, let's look at the map again. We need to go south. There's like 2 rooms down there we have not been to. Now, I haven't played a lot of Binding of Isaac because, well, I'm not really a big fan of roguelikes. But I've watched a lot of like Northern Lion playing it. And these rooms, like each level feels like it could take longer than your typical Isaac level. Does that make sense? So it seems like there's less levels, but you could actually spend more time in the levels here. Again, maybe that's just my perception. I have not played much of Binding of Isaac, but that is just my impression from what I have played up until this point. And you definitely are encouraged to explore an entire room because the armor pieces you can get are quite, well, especially if you keep getting hit like I do, it can be quite useful to do. Or have. Oops. Silly walked out of the room. Ooh, we got a lantern. That would be nice since I can't see anything. Okay, that slightly increases our range we can see. Let's go ahead and heal up as well. As you can see, it didn't heal me completely. It was 5,000 gold, which is quite a bit of gold. I was just about to say, well, I'm doing better in this run than I normally do, and then I run face first right into that completely obvious explosive. And then I completely was not even looking at that. Come on. There we go. Grab this chest. What do we got? Ooh, Ranger's Tunic. Nice. We're got a lot of items right now. I will say the items seem to be less... let's kill this one first. Because the white one will attack as soon as we attack any of the other owls close to it. So, but the brown ones will not. So that's why I attacked him first. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be as huge a variety of the type of items you would see in Binding of Isaac. Now, granted, keep in mind I haven't found a lot of weapons up until this point. But with Binding of Isaac, I know there's a lot of synergy that you can build with your items depending on what you get as far as drops go. But here there seems to be a little bit less. Like your items, you don't have like a spacebar item. You just have different kinds of weapons that you can pick up, and then different types of armor, and then things like the abacus, which allows me to see how much damage I'm doing, and the monster manual. What is this? Ooh, a new ring. Ring of minor speed. So I dropped the armor ring for the speed ring. I'll take this. Speed is good. Again, this is just my initial impression. There might be a lot more items that do mix it up a bit. But one of my understandings is for why people like Binding of Isaac so much is because of that variety in the type of items that you can get. Now, this game also does have a wiki that I was checking out before this just to kind of get some more background and more information. It's got a lot of info in it. It's not fully fledged. It's still missing some info, but it's pretty filled out. So if you have any other questions about this game, definitely check out the wiki. I will put the link to it in the description below the video. If I forget to put the wiki link, make sure to just leave a comment. I'm actually doing better than I thought I was going to, though, because I'm still actually on my living side. I'm not even on... Excuse me, I'm on not even on the undead side. So finish clearing these spores out. I don't know why I kill those mushrooms. I don't think they drop anything. But this area is pretty darn big so far. Grab that tomato. One thing that's kept me alive, though, is my extreme luck with the food up until this point. And again, and in case anyone is wondering, you do not have to like keep tapping to shoot. I can just hold left and shoot. Oh, that's one thing I haven't gone over is the controls. Wow, that should be an obvious one, shouldn't it? I move with the left thumbstick, and then the right thumbstick, I determine which direction I go. Now on the mouse and keyboard, well, you don't really use the mouse. On the keyboard, you move with WASD, and then the cursor keys determine which direction you shoot. So I can move down and shoot up or whatever. So you're given a lot of freedom as far as that goes. All right, let's get these owls. The owls aren't so bad unless you hit one. These of course block perfectly there. Unless you hit one on accident. That's where the owls become the biggest problem. Or if you're in a tight spot. Or something like this happens. I should be able to open this chest. There's a hat. One other thing that I dislike, or I guess, nice, Ranger's cap. We got the whole Ranger's outfit. But one other thing I'm not crazy about is your looks don't change. One cool thing about Isaac was that depending on the items you got, your character would end up looking totally bizarro. And just, again, eat that ball to the face. That's fine. Oh, did not see that owl. That was my bad. And down to 2 hit points. Oop, I almost ran into that. But yeah, one cool thing about Isaac was getting all like the weird looks from all the bizarre items. And I forgot to check the chest again. So now we are dead and we're in the undead world. So now we're going to have to deal with these skeletons. And like Gauntlet, these little like skeleton generators will just continually pump out skeletons until we take it out. Oop. And let's check around. Anything interesting? A blueprint. 20,000. Sure, why not? What do we get? Blood of the Cheetah blueprint. So now I can buy Blood of the Cheetah. I think that makes you move and attack faster, or maybe just move faster. Oh, and this would be a boss fight. This is not going to go well because this is a very crowded room. All right, let's focus on getting the stuff that we can get killed. That really did make a lot of sense. But the generators have a lot of hit points. So it's going to be a little tricky taking care of those. Luckily, the werewolves aren't messing with us too bad right now. They're just kind of hanging out on the sides. Oop. Oh, I thought I was just to the left of that. All right, so we got most of the plants dead. So we can kind of hang out over here for the time being. Try to catch these werewolves unawares. And get it under unaware wolf. Yeah. All right. Let's pretend I never said that. Oh, I think I walked through the spikes. Calling BS on that. There's an apple as well. Ooh. Luckily, I killed him. They do get stuck on the webbing as well, but I think when they're zooming, just die. But when they're zooming, I think they ignore the web. They do stun briefly, though, when you hit them, even when they're doing their launch attack. All right, let's... So you can use that, again, to your advantage. Okay. Is there any more? No? Okay. That actually wasn't too bad. As I almost ran into the spikes. And let's grab this chest. What do we get? Killer bees. I'm down with that. As much as I love that other weapon, I want to try the killer bees. Just to show it off, of course. And because I like the idea of throwing killer bees. So that dungeon was completed. So now we're in the sewers. Everybody loves the sewers. So we are going to kill all this stuff. Looks like the bees kind of have a spread. Because I'm just holding right. And they're kind of... I like how the bees drop. When they've reached their maximum limit, the bees actually drop. And those do not hurt you. I avoided these little puddles forever. Assuming that they hurt me, but they do not. And let's see. Let's kill these face huggers. Why those are face huggers, I don't know. And we're going to avoid that eyeball for as long as possible, because the eyeball is nasty. Unfortunately, we have these skeleton generators. Grab this nugget. Oh, the eyeball's almost dead. Let's take it out. Okay, nice. Let's kill the generators. Now, you do have to watch out for these sludge piles, because sometimes they hold a darker threat. Now you'll notice too, there is a little lurker hiding out in the sewer. See, you do not have to finish him off, but we're going to kill him anyway because we can't. Don't want to get slimed if we can help it. I'm going to try to get as far as we can. Oh, that's why you need to look out for these, because sometimes they're little slime men in disguise. These bees seem to do good damage. I don't know why bees would do a lot of damage to slime guys, but don't ask questions. Is this nope, okay. This is an empty room. Oh, except for you, which I kind of figured you'd be in there. I don't know if there's really any point to killing those, because the doors will open anyway. There's a drain. Odd we're getting into a lot of these areas that don't have enemies. Ouch. Right after I said, hey, you have to look out for these. Did I let myself get caught one? Now, these guys are very annoying because after they die, they become the slime cube guys. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, they're kind of annoying in that, and especially when you run face first into them. For some reason, they hurt you. Let's kill this guy with bees. Oh, no, that one did not actually turn into one. Oh, yep. I kill them all just on the off chance they'll get something, but very rarely will I actually get an item. Oh, now this is the enemy I was talking about before. Now the room setup is obviously different than the last time, but it's a little similar though, because notice how I'm still kind of close to the door. If you accidentally go out that door, because notice it's not locked, you will lose, like he will regenerate. And that's no es bueno. Darn it. I actually didn't mean to kill him. Bees aren't super precise, and of course I do it again as I'm talking about it. As I've said, these are not necessarily my forte. We gotta look out for any of these. Could be one of those explodies. So I don't even know why you had to kill that. It's crystal. You probably could just leave. Ah, and I got hit by that. And it'll give you kind of some stats. It'll tell you how long you played, damage taken, 52,000 treasure, not bad. We found 8 new items though. That's really good. And again, that's new items means items you've never found before on this save file. So those are 8 items I had never found before, period, not just ones that I've found. New monsters killed 0, townsfolk rescued 0, blueprints unlocked 2. So if we play again, we will actually start back in town, and we'll still pick up the same amount of money, 2,500. But now when we go to the shop, you'll see that we have the cheetah blood. And I don't really remember what it does. But if we go up here, I'm not going to play through again. I just want to go to the museum here real quick. Just kind of show you how it does give you item descriptions for the various items that you pick up. So if you're not sure what the item you just picked up was, you can check this ranger. This organic glove granted wear additional agility. These natural magic boots make it wear fleet of foot. Oh, I think all this stuff just makes you faster. That seems... Maybe that's why my weapon was so quick, because I had the ranger stuff on, or did I get that before I got the ranger items? I think I got that weapon before I got the ranger items. So the ranger items seem to probably give you some protection, but it also makes you faster, which is, as you can see, turns out quite nice. I like having good speed. But even with that speed, it just wasn't enough. We can also look at our bees. Not the bees! Oh, how far he has fallen. A handy tool that both damages enemy and collects objects. The boomerang's the one I had some problems with. I noticed some bugs with this weapon too, the ice sword. Some enemies, this weapon's cool, no pun intended, because you shoot it and when you hit an enemy, they turn to like a block of ice and they can't move for a little bit. Well, some enemies are immune to the stun, but they'll still get encased in the block of ice. So it's actually hard to see them because they're still moving behind the ice. You just can't see them. The funniest side effect of that is there's little balls and chains kind of flying around pedestals in some areas. You can actually shoot the spiked ball with that, and a little ice block will form, but the little spinning ball just keeps going. Kind of an amusing side effect. But anyway, yes, that is a wizard's lizard. Again, for those of you who like dungeons, those of you who like roguelikes, this game seems pretty interesting. I like that you can, keep some money, or not keep your money, but you get some starting money based on how far you've progressed. And you can also unlock items with a blueprint, so that way it's not totally random like with something like Binding of Isaac. But some people might not like that. Some people like that randomness with games like Binding of Isaac and what have you. And I'm just going to mostly use Binding of Isaac as my example because that's the one I'm familiar with. But I personally like that. But again, keep in mind, I'm not a big fan of roguelikes. So those who do like the kind of the spontaneity of a roguelike run might not be a fan of that. Now, of course, you don't have to do that. You don't have to come and buy your items. You can just skip them if you want. But the option is there if you don't want to start from scratch every single time. Now, one other thing is that the armor is not random. Now, where you find it is random. But the leather helmet, the leather shoes, the leather gloves, all that, they all are on the first floor. I've never ran a run where I didn't find leather of some kind on the first floor. Again, you had to find it. And maybe I just got really lucky. But every time I ran it, I did get leather items. Now, as far as item randomness is the shopkeepers sell random items. Also, the item chest you get from killing bosses, those seem to always have random weapons, I think, as far as I could tell. Again, this is just for me playing about 2 hours total now, including this session, just from what my experience is. Of course, if you have any more questions, check the website, check the official, or I don't think it's official, but the Wizards Lizard wiki page, which I will, again, link in the description below this video. I think it's a pretty interesting game. Again, I probably won't play it because I'm not into roguelikes, but I know a lot of people do love this genre. So I did want to show this game off to you guys so that you can make a decision if you wanted to check it out for yourself. It is, again, $14.99. You can buy it off the Humble Store or the official webpage. Again, you will get Steam keys once it is released on Steam, which, again, they're shooting for April for that. So anyway, thanks again for watching, folks. As always, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. Leave comments, let me know what you thought of this video and what you think about this game, and I will see you next time.